right, welcome everyone. Welcome to Entrepreneurs International Network. My name is Becky, and I am the organizer here. We are so excited to have our speaker today. Each week, we bring speakers that we know and collaborate with to bring some valuable message and training to the entrepreneurs here in this space. I appreciate all of you taking the time to show up here today and listen for this amazing event. Who we have today is Jase Souder. Jase Souder believes that you have a God given mission and that it can be fulfilled and funded through your business. Jase founded the World Class Speaker Academy to help entrepreneurs change the world by becoming world class speakers who create massive impact, raving fans, and a rush of new clients with every presentation. I want to bring to you today Jase. Let me add him here. Jase, welcome. Thank you so
Becky.
much for being here today.
Oh, my pleasure. Let me just jump on in and thanks for having me on. And thank you,
Yeah.
Bonnie, for having your camera on. And anyone else who can get your cameras on, please do. It makes the presentation much more powerful, much more interactive, and much more fun for everybody. So if this is you, please put a yes in the chat or give me a wave if this is you. Do you want to make more money? Do you want to make more sales? If that's you, give me a wave or put a yes in the chat. Do you want to make more impact? Do you want to actually reach the world? Do you want to finally make what you're worth? If that's you, please put a yes in the chat or give me a wave. And how about this? If you'd like to hang out and do thought with business with thought leaders that are crushing it, who would like that? Give me a yes or give me a wave or yes in the chat. And by the way, thank you guys for participating. Give me the waves and the yeses. As my first mentor said, if waving your hand is too much work for you, your life is going to suck. So thanks for the participation. You're about to learn how one presentation I did made over $2 million for my business and how you can do that too. This is not about being a public speaker and getting paid a check to speak. Frankly, that's too hard. It's not enough money. It's not enough impact. I don't recommend it to anybody. This is about making massive sales using speaking. And I see we had a addiction recovery coach, a neuro designer, a business outsourcing liaison. So all of you have something to sell. So this is about the number one fastest way to grow your business, which is speaking. And how do you speaking to grow? So this is about using speaking as a marketing and a sales vehicle. And by the end of this, I want you to be equipped to rocket your income and to know your next steps. Because speaking is the number one fastest way to grow your business, to raise money, to create sales. And anybody can do this with the right training. Unfortunately, very few people have the right training. This is my friend Ken. Ken came through our programs, and his first presentation to a small audience, 11 people, Ken used our techniques and did $38,000 in sales. So, if you believe that your message is more than a talk, if your business is more like a mission, then this is for you. You're about to discover the secrets of speaking, how to be a world class speaker who makes a massive impact, raving fans, and a rush of new clients every time you speak. So before I go on, more important than what I do is why I do it. Let me ask you all some questions. Do you believe you are meant to help only a few people or help a lot of people? A few or a lot? And you can just move your hands like this, or you can put it in the chat, either one. And were you meant to make a small impact or a major impact in their life? So were you meant to just just do something little, or were you meant to make a major impact? So why I'm here, and you don't have to believe like I do, but why I'm here is I believe that you have a God given mission that only you can do, and it can be fulfilled and funded through your business. So, the reason I'm here, Bonnie and Charlene and Sean and Janet, Mariah, I want to help you grow your business. So, together we change the world. You make the money you were born to make, and we make a massive impact and change the world together. Does that sound good to you guys? Thumbs up. That sounds cool. I want to say thanks. Thanks for being here. Thanks for tuning in. I have such admiration for people who invest in growing themselves and their skills in their life. It's this kind of training, like you're doing right now, that equips you to change the world. And I just love hanging out with people like you. And then also, I got to say thank you to Amon and Becky. Amon is one of my favorite, and Robert. I should have put Robert on the slide too. Amon, Robert, and Becky. Like Amon and Robert are two of my favorite people in the industry, and Becky has been such an awesome help. You guys, can we get a quick Zoom round of applause for them? Thank you, Becky, for being so kind. Look at that smile. What an amazing smile. So, in case you don't know me, my background, been a salesman and trainer, nationally known seminar company. I've grown my business by selling big ticket 3-day events, seminars, and webinars for over 20 years. I've been doing events since 2002. I've been on the news nationwide. I've been in the movie Pass It On with a lot of today's thought leaders like John Assaraf and Les Brown and Dennis Prager and Daniel Rudy Rudiger. I've been in a ton of books. I've spoken at places from Guerrilla Marketing Summit all the way to Harvard. By the way, do you guys remember those commercials that came out a couple years and it was like, I don't always drink beer, but when I do, I drink Dos Equis. Stay thirsty, my friends, with the most interesting man in the world. Do you guys remember those? Well, I met that guy when I was at Harvard. Yes, I did get a photo op with him. That's one of my products. And speaking of products, on the left are some of the products I've written and created, and on the right are some of the events I've done. By the way, is everyone here old enough to remember what a CD is? Becky might not be. Everyone else, Bonnie, Sharon, are you guys old enough to remember? Yeah, okay, good. And I've written presentations for some of the top people. You might or might not know less. Matt Basak, one of the top internet marketers. Les Brown, widely regarded as the top motivational speaker in the world. Laura Casimir runs JV Zoo. They do $500 million in transactions a month for coaches. Those are all clients of mine. And because I know how to sell from stage, I'm able to make a lot of time fast and give back. One of the ways I give back is I like going on mission trips. The other thing is my wife and I import art from Africa and we sell it, and we don't donate 10%. We donate 100% of the proceeds to charity. And one of the places we support is called City of Refuge Ministries, and they save kids from being child slaves in Africa. And we were able to donate enough money in the last couple of years. We helped them buy a grain mill to feed the kids. And the coolest thing I've ever done in my business, we bought a school bus. Is that cool, you guys? We actually helped them buy a school bus for kids that used to be child slaves. What would it be like for you guys if your side projects could make that kind of money? If your passion projects, your heart projects, your give back could make that much money because your business was rocking. Here's the other way I make a difference. I help people just like you learn how to sell from stage and impact the world. And together we change the world. So let's talk about you for a moment. Are you ready for return? Have you spent money on sponsorships to grow your business, to get certified? Have you invested in your business, or maybe you have some expenses coming up, but you still don't have enough clients? So the opportunities now, see, profitable presentations can be done by anyone with the right training, and you're going to change three things. Very few people know how, and you're going to change your profits, the world, and you. When you learn how to sell from stage, you change your profits, the world, and you. What do I mean? One webinar or seminar can change your business forever. I believe you're just one stage away. If you're taking notes, I would write this down. You are one stage away from the business and the life you want. Speaking can make you a ton of money. It's the fastest way to grow your business. It's how all the top people do it. And if you look at it, Amon speaks, Robert speaks, the owners of this company, all the top people that the audiobooks you're listening to, the podcast you listen to, all of them speak. It's speaking. Speaking is one to many. And you can make 5 or 6 figure payday from a 1 hour speech. You can do 6 to 7 figures from a 3-day event. And then it's lower, no cost marketing. Mostly it's free to speak. There's like 8,000 platforms a month, and it's going up and up and up looking for a speaker. You could never speak at all the stages that want a great speaker, and you get invited back over and over and over again. And then you're going to change the world. You're going to help a lot of people. You're going to make a major impact. And then you make the money to fulfill on your passion projects, as well as the marketing money to grow your business. And it's how your life-changing message gets heard. And then it changes you. It's where you get known. You become who you always knew you were supposed to be. You get seen for your greatness, and it calls you to be your best. Anybody here really into personal growth? Like you quite enjoy growing yourself? I mean, I hope so. Your business is only as good as you are. And speaking's great because you have to be your best to be a great speaker. Speaking calls you to be your best. And one of the ways you become your best is the people you hang around with and do business with will change. In other words, speakers hang out with speakers. So imagine the audiobooks you've been listening to and the podcasts you listen to. What if those people were your friends? If your income in your life is the average of the five you hang around with the most, what would it do for your life if those five changed? What would it do for you? Like, how awesome would that be if they changed? Well, I met Aman, speaker to speaker. I met Robert, speaker to speaker, and they're my friends now. Speakers hang out with speakers. And let's talk about time. Would anybody here like a little more time in their life? Give me just a nod, Bonnie or Charlene, if you guys want more time. Yeah, cool. Well, here's how speaking works. If you're selling something and you're going to do like discovery calls or sales calls, let's suppose 100 people. You're going to have to set those up, have it follow up. Probably going to take about an hour each. That's 100 hours. So, and also it's bad positioning, it's hard, and it just takes too long. When you speak to grow your business, you get on a Zoom or speak in person for 1 hour, you get better positioning, you get easier conversions, more sales, and you get to cherry pick your clients. You get better clients. So, which would you rather have, 100 hours or 1 hour? This is how you get your time back. Speaking actually not only lets you make 100 conversations at once, the conversions are easier because you're positioned as the expert. So people buy stories, not stuff. They buy the stories you tell and the stories they hope to tell because they buy your stuff. And I want you to know my heart and how I got into this and why it matters to you. So back in 2001, my life was in a downward spiral. I didn't have a lot of confidence. Actually, I have a picture of me. This was me in 2001. How much confidence do you think that guy had? How much money do you think that guy was making? The answer to both, not a lot. And I was I'll never forget the one day I was at this real estate investors club meeting. I want to be a real estate investor. And I'm there, and these two guys are on stage and they're talking about deal of the month. And let me know if you've ever had this kind of experience. You see someone on stage and they're making way more money than you. They're doing what you want to do. They're impacting more people, and maybe you've looked at them and thought, they're no more better than I, they're no more qualified than I. Well, why are they doing so much better than me? And that was me, guys. I was at this real estate club. These two guys are competing, and one guy made 50,000, the other made 60,000, and we're voting on who did the better deal. And I remember thinking that, like, why don't I have the success they're having? And these same guys would spend $5,000, $10,000 on seminars, and I was broke, and I'd be like, losers. I would only spend like $150 on a seminar. Who was the real loser, right? So I go to this real estate training to learn how to be a better real estate investor. And I brought my mom. I wanted to get my mom into investing. And this guy gets on stage and he talks about how to make more money and change your life. And none of it had to do with real estate. And I'm like, this guy's talking to me. Like he reached my heart. Have you ever had a moment like now where you feel like this guy's talking to me? This is for me. And he sold the course. It was 1,500 bucks. And I was like so scared. I'd never spent more than a couple $100 before. And I stood up to buy it. And my mom was next to me. And my mom grabs my jacket and she sits me down and she goes, "You're not going to buy it, are you?" Now, was my mom trying to hurt me or what was my mom trying to do? My mom was trying to keep me safe. And what the average person, non entrepreneur, thinks is the way to get ahead is by saying no. But as entrepreneurs, we know we have to say yes. But here's why I tell you the story. I was in a really rough spot in my life. And I don't know if I hadn't have gone to this guy's course, if I'd be here today. I actually don't think I would. I'd never spent more than 150, 250 bucks on a seminar. His seminar was 1,500 bucks. My mom literally grabbed my jacket and sat me down. And in the face of all of that resistance, that speaker was so good. I went to the back and I bought his course. And specifically, that was a business person, a coach using speaking to grow their business. If they hadn't have been so good on stage, I don't think I'd be alive today. And the reason I'm passionate about this message is that I know right now there's a person out there praying for an answer to the situation they're in. And I think that answer might be you. I'm passionate about this because when you learn what we have to share today, you can be that next person that makes a massive difference in someone's life. So I went to this guy's course and it changed my life. And I started going to course after course after course after course. And then my mom calls me up and my mom says, "Haven't you been to enough seminars?" Now, don't raise your hand if, or put it in the chat if this is you, but anybody here have someone like this in their life? They're kind of tapping their foot and they're looking at you like, hey, when's this entrepreneur thing going to pay off? When's this coaching thing going to pay off? Maybe you should just get a job. Listen, if that's you in the room with you, just blink twice and we'll send help. But I said to my mom something I want you guys to learn and share with your people. I said to my mom this, Mom, I'm on the right path, and I've learned if you will empty your pockets into your mind will always fill your pockets. If you empty your pockets in your mind will always fill your pockets. So I said, Mom, I'm on the right path. I kept training. Check this out. Within 2 years of the first event I ever went to, I launched my own seminar company. I increased my income by 1,000%. I bought a place my mom lived. I'd give her money every month. And I took my mom on the first class vacation of her life. In fact, I have a picture of it. Here's us in Mexico, like you drive up and they greet you with a drink. And so now can you guys see my screen or no? Yes, you can see it. Great. So if you look at the date, it says it's 2015. And now my mom has a new question. Her new question is, hey, Jase, when's your next seminar? So when you apply this stuff, people actually encourage you to keep investing in your training and investing in your business because you're actually having success and making money. So I'm in my 23rd year of events, coaching, speaking. I wouldn't be here. And we wouldn't be here if not for a speaker. And I mean that two ways. One, if that speaker hadn't saved my life, I wouldn't be here. But the second way I mean it is Amon and Robert are using speaking to grow this. They're using speaking to grow all of their businesses. And isn't it time you got into speaking? And I want to pass this on. A speaker at a live event changed my life, and I want to pass it on to you. I want to equip you to make a bunch of money and save a bunch of lives and help a bunch of people. The other reason I'm passionate about this is in 2019, it was there's events we do for new people. They're called preview events. My last in-person preview event before COVID was in 2019, and this amazing woman was in the audience, and we met and we fell in love. And people ask me, Jase, are you really good at speaking and sales? And I say, if you look at Betsy and then you look at me, you could tell I'm really good at speaking and sales. Becky, you're laughing harder than I appreciate. That was only meant to be medium funny. But I met my wife through speaking, and May 28th, 1 year ago, we had a baby. He's about to be one. So I got my baby from speaking. That's Jase Jr. And so, guys, speaking is my heart, it's my passion. And I want it for you because I know what it could do for your lives. Now, couple of wins. April 2024, 20 attendees, a small event, $410,000 in sales. You guys, you could do small events and make a lot of money. This year, we had 13 people, 13 buying units, $198,000 in sales. And that's for an event where for people that are already clients. But it wasn't always this easy. I didn't always make this kind of money. I went through a tough time, so you don't have to. And here's what I learned. There's a formula if you want to sell from stage. I encourage you to write this down. It's compelling content times dynamic delivery times you. And I'm going to unpack this more in the order I discovered it. So it's content times delivery times you. And this is what you've got to have if you want to be able to rock a stage. So let's talk about dynamic delivery. What's the difference between bad sales and huge sales? Blacklisted, invited back, snooze fest, successful events, people leaving, standing ovations, you struggling, your business rocking. Well, that first seminar I ever went to, I went to work for that company and I would carry bags, I would do back of room sales, anything they needed. And we're in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And I would watch the other speakers and I'd watch my mentor to learn. And the first speaker had unbelievably amazing content. This guy had brain science. It's now in our story, it's now 2003. This guy's brain science was absolutely amazing, but he was boring. He just talked about his content, what he did. My mentor, on the other hand, had frankly, his content was only good. It wasn't great. The first guy, the audience is bored, they're checking their phones. My mentor had the audience laughing and crying. The first guy, people are leaving. My mentor to standing ovation. The first guy did $3,000 in sales. And I remember thinking, this is a crime. You guys, if you have a solution that will change people's lives and you don't know the skill set to have them buy it, it's like a crime because you're robbing them of what can change their life and you're robbing yourself of having the opportunity to change your life and the money that you could make. So with the same exact audience, my mentor came on next, and because he was entertaining, he did 375,000 in sales. Which would you rather have? 375,000, right? So I left the presentations thinking, oh my gosh, if I want to stick around, have people buy my stuff, I better be funny. Being funny on purpose, because some of y'all are funny, but not on purpose, is the holy grail of speaking. People are never more open to a sale than when they've laughed. People are never more open to hard coaching except when they've laughed. Laughter opens people up for your information, for your message, and for your sales. Stories and entertainment are the key difference between bombing and huge sales. Let me say it again. Stories and entertainment are the difference. So we created a formula, and the formula looks like this: the number of times your audience laughs times the number of times they have a tear in their eye, a lump in their throat, a thump in their chest equals the number of impacts you make, the lives you change, and the sales you make. If you do a presentation and there were no sales, well, probably you didn't touch their heart. You didn't get them laughing or crying. When you do get them laughing and crying or in their emotions, you're going to change more lives. Well, why does this work? And what I'm talking about, you've got to entertain. Speaking as putting on a show. Do y'all remember this movie, The World's Greatest Showman? Huge movie, tons of sales. They have never made a movie called The World's Greatest Content Man. And the same thing applies for y'all as speakers. If you just talk about what you do and teachers, nobody buys. If you tell stories and entertain, they buy. So I went and searched for the Holy Grail. It's not that I want to be a performer. It's that I wanted to be a better speaker who sold more. I lived in Vegas at the time. I studied all these people. I studied all these people who did shows, entertainers. I became a performer. I entertained around the world. Here's me doing a comedy hypnosis show. And here's what I learned: all impacts, all life changes, and buying decisions are based on emotion, and then they're backed up with logic. And it's not just about being funny, it's about touching the heart. See, when you touch people's heart, you can change their life. Too many people attempt to logic the audience into a sale. We need to tell stories. Quick check: are any of you intending to do podcasts or summits or lives or webinars, anything like that? Please put in the chat or give me a nod. Are you planning to do any of those? You guys, less teach, 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 and more stories. People will remember your stories. Thanks, Janet. I see the celebration. Thank you, Bonnie. I see you. Thanks, Al. So, you guys, more stories. The more stories you tell, the more you're going to sell. This is Carson Cooper. Carson uses challenges to grow his business. He came to our training on being entertaining and telling stories. His very next challenge, he doubled his sales from 60,000 to 120,000 just by learning the art of storytelling. So you guys, put a focus on being more of an entertainer and less of a logic. It's kind of like, where does the average person want to go to more? The movies or a boring classroom? We've got to make our presentation more like a movie. All right, let's talk about you. This is the next part of the formula. So it's diamond delivery in you. The most important part of your presentation is you. Why? Because what's in you is expanded on stage. What's in you can either stop you from making a difference, stop you from growing your business, stop you from taking ground, or can catapult you to success. Now, what am I talking about? A not so great you: if you're nervous, it's expanded. If you don't think they buy, they won't, and you'll sabotage sales. Why? There's been research done, and now they're finding this thing called mirror. Have you guys heard of mirror neurons? Give me a nod if you've heard of these mirror neurons. No? Okay. So they're finding, they did research in a book called EQ, where they put people in a study and they put a high-speed camera on the one who talked more. And what they found was the recipient of information would mirror and match the body language of the speaker. And the theory is, if you match someone's body language, you pick up their emotional state. They've since discovered this thing called mirror neurons, where we pick up the emotional states and the feelings of other people. And so when you take the stage, what's in you will become the experience of the audience. So if you're nervous, the audience will get nervous. If you don't think they have money, they'll feel like they don't have money. If you're not confident and on fire, you're going to sabotage your sales. But on the other hand, to grade you, if you're on fire, they'll feel it. If you're confident, they'll feel it. If you care, they'll sense it. If you're focused on their success, they're going to want more. And so one of the things you've got, well, let me rewind. You don't have to do anything unless you actually want to make sales. If you want to make sales, one of the things you have to do is subconsciously program yourself to be on fire, up, confident, yes, 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 every time you take that stage. It is critical. To me, great speaking is saying to the audience this: I love you, and giving the audience the opportunity to wound you without saying a word. Now, what do I mean by wound you? The only way you can reach someone's heart is when you open your armor and you let them in. And if your armor's open, then you're vulnerable. But great speaking, guys, you've got to reach their heart. And so you got to share your heart. And this is why very few people speak, because you're more open, you're more vulnerable. And this is why even fewer people are great speakers, because it requires a ton of vulnerability. Now, here's the prayer I pray every time I speak. I say, God, may their life be better forever because I was here, whether they buy from me or not. God, may their life be better forever because I was here, whether they buy from me or not. If you come from a place of service, things will shift. Now, talk about shifting. Am I going too fast or is this okay, Becky? Bonnie, am I all right? Good. This is Rob and Michelle. I helped them with their presentation. They said, we spoke for an hour at our conference. Thank you for all your help. Without it, we wouldn't have crushed it without your coaching. And then the audience members said, you inspired the conference. You were fantastic. You both were great. Thanks for being in our life. You guys, this will happen for you. When you rock a stage, people come up to you years later thanking you for being there. And then Rob sent me this email. He says, we've been told we're the most professional, well-trained speakers they've ever had in their office. Thanks for giving the confidence we could do this in a big way. You guys, what would it do for all of your business if you were more confident? If you knew you could rock a sales presentation, you knew you could rock a stage. If you walked with confidence in all of your life, what would that do for you? Here's what it did for Rob. They did 130,000 for the month, a record for March. Now, I can't guarantee you guys that. I guarantee you guys better training though. So I'm going to play for you a clip. There is a shift coming in the market, and this shift is huge. And if you don't know this, you're going to be left behind. Because if you're going to start to sell stuff, especially if you're remotely in the world of coaching and consulting, the market has changed on how they're making buying decisions. And it is critical that you learn this.
It's helpful to understand a few of the developments that have led to today's
Hear it?
marketplace. At the tail end of the 20th century, we started moving from the selling of ideas, the so-called information economy, toward the selling of feelings, or what author Alvin Toffler called the experience economy. This is why retail shops started to look like theme parks. Why, instead of stocking ammo on their shelves like Walmart, the outdoor retailer Cabela's turns their stores into a hunter's paradise of big game mounts, faux mountainsides, and giant aquariums. It's how Starbucks can charge $4 for a 50-cent cup of coffee, because they're providing that cozy third place between work and home.
So let me pause that real quick. Most coaches sell how to. They are information marketers and they just tell you how to do something. Are y'all familiar with that? Like you've seen that happen? How to lose weight, how to make money, how to whatever. Brian Clemmer wrote a book, If How To's Were Enough, We'd All Be Skinny, Rich, and Happy. How To's aren't enough. How To's aren't going to make it anymore. And if you're just selling how to's, you're being left behind. If you're giving experiences, you're doing better. Here's where the market is going, though. And here's how I discovered this. I've been teaching for years how to structure your coaching program so you can have a $5,000 or $25,000 coaching program or more. And I've had this thought at the edge of my consciousness. And then I read this book and he said what he's about to say, and it just clunked into place. Here's where the market's going.
But we were at the Advertising Research Foundation to discuss the next step, the move from an experience economy to what author Joe Pine calls the transformation economy. In this marketplace, what we're being sold is who we might become. Or, as Pine explains, in the transformation economy, the customer is the product. On the
So what's happening now is the market has gotten savvy enough that they know they must become someone new. If you want to be a great speaker, you must become a great speaker in your heart. If you want to be a great entrepreneur, you have to become a great entrepreneur. If you want to be a great spouse, it's not enough to learn what a great spouse does. You need to become a great spouse. And so what's happening in the market now is people are making buying decisions, or they're going to make buying decisions based on who can help me become who I need to be successful. So what does that mean for you? If you're going to be a coach or a consultant, or reading from what you guys offer, you're all roughly in the realm of coaching. You're working with people very closely. You've got to either way, you have to have transformation as a part of your offer. You have to either be someone who does the transformation to your audience yourself, or bring someone in who does it for you. So transformation has to be a part of it. And what I mean by this, if you're taking notes, please write this down. You must be the mentor. You have to become the mentor that they will follow, that inspires people to more, that can lead people through tough times, that can lead people past their fear and lead people to success. You must be the mentor. You must become the successful speaker. All right. Am I good? Can I keep going? Is this landing for you? Are you guys getting value out of this? Cool. So the formula: dynamic delivery, you, and compelling content. So when I first started selling my own stuff, the only business model I've ever really had is selling from stage. And the first time selling my own stuff, I did almost $98,000 in sales. That was awesome. But other times I made 0 sales. And that wasn't even the worst part about it, y'all. What was worse was I didn't just break even, I went negative because I had to pay for travel, for lodging, for expenses. What was worse than that? It was word spread. So let me teach you a little bit about how the market works if you're going to use speaking to sell from stage. There's a ton of free speaking gigs that are super valuable, like podcasts, like summits, things like this was free. There's a ton of places you could speak for free and get a lot of exposure and pick up clients. And I have friends who consistently have $20,000 months just from being on podcasts. The absolute best place to speak is a 3-day event. Not a summit, but a 3-day event that's like around one thing. Like Robert and Aman just had the ultimate speaker event. Those events, you're either going to pay a sponsorship fee, a marketing fee to get in front of that crowd, or you're going to do what's called a revenue share. So when I speak, most of the places I speak, I actually pay to speak there. It's a marketing vehicle for me to speak to people. So if you get on a stage, whether you pay a revenue share, if you don't do good on that stage, if the audience has a bad time, the promoter is going to remember that and not book you on that stage again. Worse than that, promoters talk and they'll tell their promoter friends not to have you on stage. So if you bomb, it not only costs you the stage you're on, it costs you stages you could be on as well. Now, I'm not trying to scare you guys off. I'm trying to scare you into getting the right training. So that wasn't the worst part, though. What was worse than all of that is I didn't know what I was doing wrong when I bombed or what I was doing right when I rocked. I just hoped the good days will get me through it. And luckily, I could make a ton on the good days to carry me through the days I sold nothing. But that wasn't even the worst part. This was the worst part. I spoke at an event and I bombed. And I'd previously bombed on this event. And the promoter sent his assistant to take me to dinner. And I'm thinking, maybe he's going to give me a pep talk or something. And the assistant takes me to dinner. And the check comes. And the guy's being awkward. He's just being weird all dinner long. And finally, the check comes. And the assistant leans in. He looks at me and he says, "We'd like to invite you not to come back." How would you feel in that moment? You're doing the best you can, and someone says they want to invite you not to come back. How would you have felt there? I'll tell you, for me, it was horrible. I thought that was a horrible pep talk. Well, the pain of that moment combined with the recession happened soon after, and my market used to be real estate investors. And so that dried up, and suddenly I had a lot of time on my hand. And I was writing this home study kit on one-to-one sales. Yeah, actually, here's some of it right here. It's It's these big workbooks. This is 4 different workbooks on one-to-one sales. And so I'm creating all this material. Then you could see some of the CDs that went with it. Yeah, actual CDs. And so I'm immersed in studying sales. I'm immersed in learning how to gain rapport, finding out what's in people's heart, closing the deal, neurolinguistic programming, personality types. And then I was TED Talks just came out and I'm binging TED Talks and I'm learning how when people get in a room, there's group dynamics that sway what people do in the room. And basically, I'll put it to this. I get this God nudge, and the God nudge says, figure out what you're doing wrong when you bomb. What are you doing right when you rock? And so here's what I learned. If you want to sell from stage, if you want to speak, and at the end of your presentation, people opt in for your free report, or at the end of your presentation, people book a call with you, or they buy a ticket to your event, or they buy your thing, there's a series of psychological switches in the audience, and you have to get them on in the right order for the audience to say yes to your offer. Here's an analogy. There's really like 27 switches. Here's the analogy. If I want to call Becky on the phone and I have all 10 of her digits in the right order, I'm going to reach Becky on the phone. If I'm missing one digit and I don't know which one I'm missing, but if I'm missing just one digit, am I going to ever reach her on the phone? No. Now let's suppose I have all 10, but 2 are out of order. I don't know which 2, but just 2 are out of order. Am I ever going to reach Becky on the phone? No. So what I learned is there's a series of conversations you've got to have in the right order to get the yeses on. And at the end of your presentation, people say yes to your offer. So I create this template, and the template doesn't tell you what to say, but it tells you the conversations to have in the right order. And I'm like, all right, I need to try this thing out somewhere. I just happened to have a client introduce me to this guy named Mike. And Mike says, Mike and I meet, and Mike says, yeah, you seem great. I have a huge event in February, but I'm going to give you a tryout. I'm going to put you in front of my top 75 people. And if they like you, I'll put you on the big stage. But here's the deal. You got to pay your own travel, your own lodging. You're not allowed to sell. I'm like, all right, I'll do it. No risk, no goodies. Big risk, big goodies. So Mike sends me a contract by email, and all caps at the bottom, it says no sales. Got it, Mike. I show up in Houston, and Mike introduces me on stage. You know how like at an in-person event, one person will introduce the next, they hug and they high five. And as Mike leaves the stage, he whispers, remember, no sales. I'm like, I got it, Mike. So I use the formula. I use the compelling content formula. I use the template to write my presentation. I got all the psychological switches on. I had dynamic delivery. I had people laughing. I had people crying. My heart was in the right place. And at the end of my presentation, I get the standing ovation, like a spontaneous standing ovation. And I'm like, yes, it worked. It worked. And then Mike walks over to me and Mike goes, let's sell your stuff. I'm like, what? I thought I wasn't supposed to sell. And Mike goes, you rocked it. Let's sell your stuff. So you guys, I didn't bring order forms. I didn't bring product. They didn't really know what they were getting. It was the sales kit I'd been writing. All I know is this, that one day sale following the system equaled 25% of my previous year's revenue. What would it do for your business and your life if you could speak once and do 25% of your previous year's revenue? What if you could equal last year's revenue in 4 presentations? What would that do for your life and your business? So I'm like, this thing works. It's awesome. So Mike says, let's sit down. And Mike leans in. And by the way, this story's true. And as far as I know, all my stories are true. So Mike leans in, the same body language, the same phrase. And Mike goes, I'd like to invite you. And I thought the other guy, I'm like, what? I thought I did good. And then Mike says, I'd like to invite you to the big stage. I also want you to speak to my group 4 times a year. I'll pay you monthly to do it, and you can sell your stuff. Do you guys get that? I went from uninvited to now I'm on the big stage, and someone's paying me monthly to come speak and sell my stuff. That's a really good marketing vehicle if you can do it. Guys, could you imagine that? Someone paying you to sell your stuff? Like, what would that do for you? So it was awesome. So Mike puts me on his big stage. Here I am on the big stage. And on this big stage using the system, I did 50% of my previous year's income. So that means 2 presentations using the system, I made 75% of my previous year's income. Also, I got invited back 6 more years and I picked up 14 more stages. So that first presentation, that big stage, I did 50% of my previous year's income. I got 14 more stages and I got invited back 6 more years. Now, what's important to you is I'm not special. The system is special. When you follow a system to speak and sell from stage, you can have success. The people that don't are very hit and miss and few and far in between. I see so many people fail on stage because they don't get the right speaker training. Your speaker training determines your speaker results. And I believe this, you're just one stage away from the life and business you want. I believe you rock one stage, one good stage, and your business can be made. So let me teach you a little bit about the stages of a presentation and what goes into the template. I don't have a ton of time, so I'll talk about the intro right now. There's 3 stages of a presentation. There's the intro or the beginning, the middle, and the end. It's kind of deep. Did you guys get that? No, I'm just kidding. It's the intro, the body, and the call to action. The intro's in red because it's about the heart. The body's your contents, black and white. And we put the call to action in green because it's about getting people to take action. So when you take the stage, your audience has 4 questions. Oh, it didn't show the questions. I went backwards, sorry. Here's the 4 questions. And you've got to get these answered in the audience's mind and heart in the first 2 minutes. Do I like this speaker? Does this presentation matter to me? What qualifies this speaker to be here? And does this speaker care about me? If you don't get a yes to all of those in the audience's heart in the first 2 minutes, you're sunk. So our goals when we take the stage are rapport, interest, authority, train, inspire. We want to be in a space of rapport. I like you, you like me. Interest, we need them to say, yes, this matters to me. Authority, they say to themselves, this person's qualified. I will listen to them. Then we want to train and inspire. If you want to leave behind hard sales forever, instead of trying to sell, seek to inspire. When you inspire your audience for more, when you inspire them, they could be more. When you inspire them, they can have more. When you inspire them for what's possible in their life, in a space of inspiration, your audience will be like this. How do I get there? How do I get there? And in a space of inspiration, it's natural for them to say yes to your offer. So instead of trying to hard close, seek to train and inspire, and people will be motivated to work with you. So in the body, here's what you're going to do in the body and the call to actions: deliver great info, call to actions, victory stories, specifics, testimonials, discounts. I don't have time to work on that to show you too much about that, but I want to show you this, where you're going to use your core script. We call it your core script when you write it. You use this for your 1-hour presentation, your 1-day workshop, your 3-day event, your 1-year course, year 2 and above, your video sales letter, your book, your summit interviews, your podcasts, your videos, your website, YouTube, media interviews. Basically, the elements that go into writing your presentation, you can pull these elements out because in it are your great stories and your why and your case studies. You're going to use this core script everywhere in your business. This becomes the foundation of everything you do in your business. Where can you monetize it? You can use it for your selling your courses, selling your course on stage or webinar. Your paid, you can even turn it into a paid keynote speech, turn it into a course, turn it into your 1, 2, and 3 and above, your preview events, basically everywhere. I believe when you write your presentation, it becomes the foundation of everything you're going to do in your coaching and consulting business. And before I go on, I want to tell you a quick story. That first stage where I got 14 more stages, one of those guys flew me out to Houston, and he paid my speaker fee, he paid my travel and lodging, and I got to sell my stuff. And we're hanging out, and he says to me, Jase, did I ever tell you what I said to my business partner the first time I saw you speak? I had no idea. He said, I looked at you up at stage 10 minutes in your presentation, and I leaned over to my business partner and said, I don't know what this guy's selling, but whatever it is, we're buying. How would you like it if 10 minutes in your presentation, people decided to work with you? And that can happen. I find when I do discovery calls, I don't really have to sell people. It's just sifting and sorting to see who's available. You guys, when you nail your intro, your whole presentation is done. So here's the hard truth. You're either great or you stink. Stink means Oh, they give you a lot of applause, but no one buys anything. No one gets a free report. Great. They pay you a lot. This is Shiraz. Before we worked, he said people would clap for me and say my presentation was great, but I made no sales. Shiraz becomes a client of mine. He stunk and becomes great. He says, now I'm so on point. I not only make sales from stage, I have people joining out of the blue because they've seen a recording of me somewhere. Before we worked together, he had a good business. He made 100,000. His first year with me, he doubled to 200,000. His second year, he went to 1 million. His third year, he was up 500% from the year before. That's what happens with the right training. And people ask me, does this work on Zoom? Does it work in person? So I'm going to tell you about Natalie in order to explain this. Natalie's first year with me, she doubled. Second year, she doubled. Third year, she tripled. So when COVID happened, I stopped everything. Pre-COVID, everything was in person. Like everything was in person. And it took about 5 days to do a speaking gig. Here's what I mean by that. You'd fly out on day one, and then the event's 3 days, and they want you to stay for the whole event usually. So you got to stay there day 2, 3, 4. You fly home day 5. 5 days. Y'all, if your business suffered during COVID, if you suffered, I'm sorry, it stinks for us because our heart was in the right place. COVID is when we took off. But first, I shut everything down before I had my big breakthrough because everything was on live speaking and there was no stages to speak at. There was no Zoom stuff. Like this wasn't a thing. And then Natalie calls me up, and Natalie's a client of mine. And Natalie goes, Jase, I did 7,000 in sales on a Zoom. Like I offered calls, they booked calls, they bought, and they paid in full in 4 days. How many of you, what would you guys, could you handle speaking for an hour, taking some sales calls and doing $7,000 in sales and getting paid in 4 days? So I'm like, holy crap, that's awesome. And Natalie's a client of mine. So I called Danella. Danella gets people on stages. Danella's a mutual friend of Amon and Robert. So she gets me on a stage, 48 people in the room, 19 signed up for a discovery call, sales call, 8 sales, $38,000 in revenue from one speech. I was like, holy crap, I've never done that before. That was amazing. So I'm like, Danella, get me on more stages. With an average of 50 people in the audience, 28,000, 64,000, 30, 40,000, 32,000, 11,000, 50,000, 6 more speeches. Somehow we averaged 38,000 per speech. So our total for the 7 speeches was like 260,000 bucks. This is where you can get to a multiple 6-figure company. You've got to have a great 1-hour presentation written. I do see some people. Does anyone here want to start doing 3-day events, 1-day events, 3-day events, multiple day events? I really encourage you, do your 1-hour presentation and get really, 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 really good at it. Then go to a 3-day virtual event or in-person event. So we really mastered our 1 hour. And so, all right, we said, let's start doing virtual events. So we start doing virtual events, 278, 230,000, 391, 186, 670,000, 5 events, 1.7 million in sales. That's 351,000 per event. We just did an event. I don't have these numbers in here. In February, only 35 people, and we did $210,000 in sales from a virtual event. You guys, you can make huge money with small crowds, or the $670,000 one, we had a couple hundred people there. So this is the path. This is what's available, guys. And here's why I'm here. Have you ever heard the example, if you drop a pebble in a pond, a ripple goes out, and that ripple represents the difference you make in the world? Well, I had this vision once God gave me, and there was this giant lake, and there's all these hands holding out rocks, and they're dropping the rocks into the water, and they're creating these waves of love and change. And what God was showing me, is putting on my heart, is that together we can create a better world. Together we can change the world. And so we put on my heart is to empower people just like you to learn how to make a difference. So together we change the world. My mom passed away a couple months ago, and my mom carried grief her entire life from some stuff that went on as a child. And after she passed, it really hit me. Part of the reason I do what I do is I was hoping some coach could reach my mom and help heal my mom's heart. And while it's too late for my mom, I know someone out there needs you. I know someone out there needs your help. I know someone out there is praying for an answer. I also know There's a lot of money to be made. And so the reason I do what I do is I want to help us launch you. So I want to know, are you ready to grow your business? Like, are you ready? Are you ready to grow? Is this your time? Like, is it really your time to grow your business? Is your time for huge revenue? Is your time to be confident? Is your time for more sales, for more funds, for more fun? Is your time to make a difference? Is it time to bring out the best you? Well, I've got something called dynamic speaker training coming up. It's an in-person training. I haven't done this event since pre-COVID. This was the last event I did for like new people. I've done events for people in my coaching program since 2019. This is the first one I've done since 2019 for people who aren't in my coaching program. So this is available for you guys. So here's how you can know if you're ready for this. This is for you if you want to help people. Do you feel like you were made for more? Do you want to make a difference? Do you want to leave a legacy? Do you want to make more money? Do you have something to sell? Do you have a family? Do you have dreams? This is your access. So, dynamic speaker training, guys, it's live in person in Boise, Idaho, June 19th through 21. Please write this down, June 19th through 21, 2025. Don't click the link. Well, you can click the link if you want. I'm about to give you guys a super special offer, you guys. Jen Affleck came. She says, I now know how to prepare. I'm more confident, and that's led me to meeting the love of my life. She says last month, she sells insurance, guys. I did enrollment for 20 PFI people. Usually that was 10 to 12,000 in sales. This time I sold 24,000. She just did a presentation, did $60,000 in sales. So this is a combination of two events, the Speakers Comedy Camp and Dynamic Speaker Training. I'm bringing the best of both together. So dynamic speakers connect with the audience. They open the emotions with comedy and storytelling. They've got improv techniques, voice work, stage mechanics, subconscious influence techniques. If you don't know what those are, don't worry. You're going to learn. It's in person because there's some training we can only do in person. From the comedies camp, you're going to learn how to get their attention. You're going to learn how to get them to like you, keep them riveted, get them to spend money with you, create wow moments in your presentation, and get invited back over and over and over again. Isn't this what you want in your speaking? Isn't this what you want in your business? Is this quite possibly the answer you've been looking for? So here's what we got, you guys. It's live in person. The value is $5,000. If all this did was help you make an extra $10,000 a month, would it be worth it? I mean, are you just going to work for the next 7 months, or are you going to work for the next 7 years? If this could help you make an extra $10,000 a month for 84 months, that's $840,000. What if this just helped you become a six-figure earner? What if this just helped you step in your destiny? Would it be worth it? If you could just triple your income, would it be worth it? Yeah. So here's where we train. Our theory is if you're going to learn how to rock a stage, you better be on a real stage. So we hold our training in a theater in Boise, Idaho, and there's tons of Airbnbs and hotels around. We don't make you stay at some expensive hotel. There's great deals in Boise this time of year. So we're going to train in this beautiful theater. Here's one of our groups this is people who are already our clients in the theater. This is Mary Jo, her first 3-day event. She did a 33% close rate. This is Iolette. She says, I pitched the way Jase taught. 4 people signed up on the spot. In 1 week, I gave her presentation, made me 4,000. And I'm teaching these women something's going to change their lives. What could be better? So here's what we got, guys. You're going to learn transformation and breakthrough. You need to become the speaker. So we're going to do a ton of breakthrough work. I'm so excited to do this breakthrough work because people need it. And it's really hard to do it on Zoom. You're going to show up day one as one person. You're going to leave a much more powerful, confident person. You're going to also learn my models of transformations. You can use it with your people. You're going to learn how to lead at events, how to speak, how to rock your 1 hour. You're going to learn how to sell from stage, and you're going to learn microphone work and stage time. We're actually going to show you the correct ways to use a microphone, the correct ways to walk a stage. You guys, microphones and how people work a stage, it's the number one thing between making them look amateur or pro. You're going to learn how to look like a pro here. Now, this is not for people who want to play small. This is for people who want to learn the strategies and tactics to make millions from stage. This is not for people who don't think delivery matters. This is for people who understand delivery makes stars. This is Christy Orlando. She says, Jase's event changed my life majorly, gave me the tools I need to be confident. There's that word confidence again. Jase has helped me and my parents reach our goal to be $1 million company. So here's what I do. It's $5,000. Early enrollment's $19.97. I'm going to give you some bonuses. Christine Rothdeutsch sold two of my highest paying packages ever. So here's some bonuses for you guys. One, group coaching. You're going to get a few months in my group coaching program where I teach my 20 and 25 and $50,000 a year people. You're going to be able to attend for free. That's worth $6,000. You're going to get my online library where you get access to training, high ticket offers, a delivery intensive, how to write your presentation. That's 3,000. This is Alicia. She said, I used your template, rewrote my approach, and felt total confidence. She had people handing her business cards asking to work with her coming off stage. You guys, people handing you business cards asking to work with you, what would they be like? She sold 8 $5,000 packages right away, and her clients are stoked on what they're getting. This is possible for you guys. Well, I want you to have the template. So everyone who registers today, you get the template as well. This is the template that I created to sell from stage. You're going to get that as well. You're also going to get a training on the language patterns to use from stage to program yourself and your audience for success. So altogether, the package is 5,000, 6,000, the library's 3,000, $1 million is 497. You get the template, but you're not going to pay that. I'm giving a huge discount. So I thought I'd pay your travel for you. So instead of charging you $2,000 and then you send me receipts, I'm just going to give you $1,500 off. So you get $1,500 off. That should more than pay for your travel. If it doesn't cost $1,500, keep the extra. So your investment today, because you're here at EIN, is $497. So you get this total package for $497. So you want to go to dynamicspeakertraining.com and use code EIN. This really is a today now type of special. $497, the whole 3-day event, and don't make any other plans. We're going to go full days and nights. Here's Chad Het. He says, our company has 400 presentations at Dynamic Speaker Training. You learn the right mindset. And then I texted him a year later. I said, well, how's it going? 12% increase in sales, additional 38,000 revenue a month, 48 presentations. I texted him 5 years later. Our marketing reps have called the best presenters. He sent all his marketing reps. Now we do 500 presentations a year. Now we're over 9 million in revenue. So we're also going to give you this. You're going to get make great video, how to look like a pro on stage. That's worth $497. You're going to get access to the mic drop. This is an additional 3-day training on Zoom where I'm going to teach you the template and then you're going to do it and you're going to get feedback and get to practice. That's worth $2,500. And I talked about the charity I support. For everyone who invests today, we're going to donate $50 of each ticket. That's over 10% to City of Refuge Ministries. You're going to help set a child slave free. And when you come to the event, you're going to get one of these t-shirts, Let Love Lead. This is one of the cardinal principles for my organization. We love to let love lead. And so you're going to get one of these shirts for free. So you get this entire package. The value is over $17,000 for only $497. So go to Dynamic Speaker Training and use code EIN. John Taylor says, I just got back from one of the most intense seminars I ever went to. Gail Rain says, that was an amazing event. Update on Carson. He came to a personal growth. He increased his revenues to $1 million with 40 people in the room. So use code EIN. Go to dynamicspeakertraining.com right now. And let me show you what it looks like when you click this link. So when you click this link, it's going to take you to this page. It's going to load up. And then right here where it says get your ticket now, click on here where it says get your ticket now. And it's going to take you to the checkout page. And right here, put in EIN and click apply. And then it will make the price only $497 for your investments. Let me do that again. Click the link that we just put in the chat. It's going to open up this page. Right in the middle, it says get your ticket now. Click that link. And where it says coupon code, put in EIN and click apply, and it will make your price only $497. And you will be in. So a couple last testimonials. Dan was a pastor. He says, I thought no one would listen to me. I realized I have a story to share. So you guys, EIN, this is it. So that's the offer we have. And I got a couple of minutes. Oh, we're on time. I guess it's exactly time to cut. If anyone has a quick question, I have questions. For this event, I want you to know this too. This is not sales talk. We're only selling 50 seats. So we're not doing anything where you could buy a ticket and bring a spouse for free. As of this morning, we were half sold out. So we only have 25 seats left. They're going to go fast. So if you want to go, make sure you click that link and buy a ticket right now. If you've already got a ticket, put a yes in the chat. I want to know who's coming to join me there. Also, we don't have at least right now, we don't have a VIP upgrade. You're all VIP to me. So we're gonna have fun stuff at night. We're gonna take you out to a show one night. We're gonna take everybody out for dinner another night. You're gonna have a lot of networking. And one of the best ways to grow your business and get on stage and connect with people is to be in a room with them. You're gonna rub elbows with some 7-figure businesses, some people that are just starting, some people with 6-figure businesses. You're going to meet some amazing, amazing people there. We also have some biohackers there that are going to help you optimize your brain so that you can perform better in your business. Guys, this event's going to be off the hook. And I'm so stoked to do an event like this. I haven't been able to do one since pre-COVID with new people that I haven't met yet. So that's it. The link is in the chat, you guys. Right now, click dynamicspeakertraining.com, use code EIN. If you can click it and the tickets are available, we'll leave it available. As soon as it sells out, we'll put up a page that says it's sold out. So if tickets are available, it's there. And when you register, we'll send you information on where the location is, and we will send you information on nearby hotels and Airbnbs, etc. It's going to be awesome. And Boise, Idaho is beautiful this time of year. Just buy your tickets, your airline tickets soon. Buy your tickets soon. Anybody have questions for me on this or on speaking or sales, on the event, speaking, sales, anything? Bonnie, are you saying bye or you have a question? I can't tell. I think she's saying bye. Bonnie, can't wait to see you in Idaho. Everybody else, I don't see any questions. Going once, twice, 3 times. Sold. All right. Love you guys. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much for being here. Becky, thank you for having me. Please tell Aman and Robert. Thank you. I love you guys.
Okay. Thank you, Jase. I just wanted a quick add that I truly believe that certain people come into our lives and align with us at the most perfect time. And when you know where you're at in service and you know when your purpose and where your mission is, Jase came here for a reason. So what an amazing event. Like, how could you say no, in all honesty? So I'm really grateful that you offer this to everyone, and it's going to be phenomenal. So thank you very much for your time, Jase. Very
Thank you,
grateful.
Becky. My honor and privilege to be here. I appreciate it.
All right. Have a wonderful day, everybody. We'll see
Bye,
you next
everybody.
week. Bye.